don't know.
Well, I've never been live yet, so.
Yeah, JoJo has never gone live before. Oh, why can't I see it? Looks like, oh, there it is.
Every time I gotta go,
Okay, that sounds.
Make me a moderator.
Oh yeah, let me do that now. Let me make you a moderator. Let me make you a moderator. That's so weird. That is weird. Okay. Cool. This sounds so. Is this better? Gosh, it feels like every time I do this, I cannot do it right the first time. Something always goes wrong. But would I be me if that didn't happen? No.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Everybody has those days. I'm a really big. I like Hannah Montana. Fun fact. All right. Cool. Guess what, JoJo? You're a moderator now. All right, guys. There we go. Okay? There we go. So now you can answer in the chat if you want to, but I'm going to go ahead and send the link to the Zoom if you would like to give your opinion. Can men and women be friends? Now, of course we can be like, yeah, you can really do whatever the heck you want to do. But I have, like, this is always a topic for people to discuss for some reason. In my head, I feel like men and women, of course, can be friends. Like, why not?
Wait,
but see, exactly.
What do you mean, like, can they be friends or what?
Can
they be friends without dating? Or without somebody liking the other?
Can they be friends, period? Like,
what does that mean, though?
It doesn't really have to be that deep.
No, I think, like, when you say, like, a good example would be, can you punch somebody in the face? I mean, you can.
Can men and women be friends platonically without dating ever? Without ever dating? And the answer to me, the answer is yes.
Not in a one-on-one setting. If it's a group thing, then yeah.
Why does it have to be a group thing? I have guy friends. Why does it have to be a group
like
thing?
You eventually. That's just how guys work. And they lying if they say they don't.
What y'all think? What's up? Hola. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't really agree with that. But once we get a few more in here, I'll share the link. You guys can share your opinion if you'd like. Yeah. But we got Victor says a man can't be friends with anyone they find attractive. Now, I'm not gonna combat that. I'm not a man, so I'm not sure if it's in you guys' nature to just want to hop on.
They can't, bro. I'm telling you. It's not gonna work.
My best woman friends know. Friends, I know their husbands. Oh, okay. Well, that's different, I think. If the entire group is coupled up, then, of course, it's a group of couples. But if it's just a man and a woman, I don't know.
How would that even start? How would a guy and a girl friendship just start?
Very easily. Just how a guy and a guy friendship would start, or a woman and a woman friendship would start.
That's different, because guys become friends with guys because of, like, they both share, like, a common thing. Like, they both like sports, or they both like a same show, or they both like work out, or they both play the same sport. When a guy becoming a girl's friend honestly makes no sense. Like, just to walk up to a girl and say, hey, let's be friends.
Well, it doesn't happen like that, because when you just walk up to, like, your guy friends and be like, oh, well, let's be friends. It could happen like that, but also it can happen in a very natural setting, right? Where you're working with somebody and then you just realize you like the same things. You start going out to lunch together. It's not
no, that's not gonna work. That's not.
What do you mean it's not gonna work?
We go out to lunch with our guy friends, one-on-one.
Guys don't go out to lunch.
Not with our guy friends, no. Not on a one-on-one setting. Like, hey, you want to go out to lunch, bro? Yeah, what's up? No, it doesn't. That never happened. Like, ever.
All right, Luke, you say that it's more complex There's the Zoom link, guys.
See, the fact that you even thought that just shows that the type of guy friendships you have. Like, guys inviting you out to lunch one-on-one, that's not friendship.
Me and my female friends go out to lunch all the time.
Yeah,
So
that's a girl thing, bro.
going out to lunch, eating food is a girl thing? What?
Bro, I'm telling you, a guy's not going to invite a girl out to lunch one-on-one unless he, like, likes her.
Here we go. We got Dorian in here. So let's go ahead, get Dorian on this Zoom call, and let's figure out. Oh, Dorian. Oh, connecting to audio. There we go. Let's see, because honestly, if a man is trying to take you to lunch, he's trying to get you. Okay. Most likely, probably, but also, Dorian, what's goody? How do you feel?
Can't hear him.
Oh, we can't hear you. Can you say something? There we go. So, what do you think?
I'm sorry, just sometimes when I go on Zoom meeting, sometimes it has a different name on it.
I see. Yeah, oh, I should probably change that. But how are you doing? What do you think on the topic? Can men and women be friends?
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, they can.
Okay.
I mean, I have friends who are girls, and yeah, I mean, like, I don't really think it's a problem. I mean, like, the only time it's a problem is if, you know, it's an older guy being friends with a younger woman. That's usually like not okay with this sort of thing. But in general, I don't think it's a problem. Yeah, I think men and women can be friends, really.
Okay, so you think a man can be friends with a woman platonically, never date, and that's just it?
Platonically what?
Like platonically, they'll never ever date. They're just like there's no romantic feelings there. You think that that's possible? Why'd you make that face?
But most of the time, it's not really possible. Most of the time.
But that's what you said. I thought that's what you were saying, though. Like you said, yeah, men and women. That's how you started the call.
If his girlfriend was to apply some pressure, he would be on that.
Sorry, I wasn't.
Yeah, he would be on that.
I'm saying, yeah, they can be friends, but usually, I'm just saying in general, it starts out as friendship, then it turns romantic, and at the end.
Okay, so that leads me to think that are men just waiting in the friend zone for it to turn into something else?
A lot of guys are.
You never know, Naya.
But nah, a lot of guys
All right,
do that.
Dorian, thank you for this. Thank you.
But there's one way I'll say, I believe so. There could be times where, yeah, they could just be friends. It could be nothing romantic.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you for sharing. Have a nice night. Or whatever time of the day it is. All right. Dang. Okay, so now my mind is somewhere else.
I told you. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to put you on some game.
Wow. Okay. That is interesting.
Okay, I will
my mind is like.
I will say this: a guy and a girl can be friends if the guy's attracted to her. If the guy makes up in his mind that he'll never date her. But that's rare. That's really, really probably never gonna happen.
Or if the female makes up in her mind that she'll never date the man.
No, that's not gonna work.
So guys have all of the power in the relationship?
No, girls do. I'm saying because girls are a little more emotionally intelligent than guys. So when it comes to friendships, guys sometimes like misinterpret cues within it. Because sometimes girls are just naturally nice or naturally a certain way, and guys are like, oh, she's starting to like me more, so I'm going to apply some pressure to start dating her. And she probably never felt that. Then once he gets rejected, because he's been in the friendship building up this, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Building up this attraction for her, building up this image in his head of her. Then the whole time he finally asks her out a year down the line, and she's never liked him at all. So that's going to completely shatter the friendship on the guy's end. So if he has to literally make up that I will never date her no matter what for this friendship to work, if he's attracted to her.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Let's see. We got... Yeah, I'm sure. I think it could definitely go both ways. But what do you guys think about when it comes to a relationship? Like if the man, like if you're in a relationship, how do you think that works? Because personally, I feel like if if the other partner is okay with it, if you're not disrespecting them, then, I mean, who knows? But I don't know. All right, we got Mike in here. Mike Armour. Yeah, you just got to make sure. I agree. Like, as long as you're open and you're honest with your partner, then I think it's cool. Hey, Mike.
Can't hear him.
Yeah, I think he's still connecting to audio. Hey, Mike, can you hear us? I think. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, my bad. It's
No
my
problem.
first time actually doing Zoom.
Really? Oh, cool.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Yes, you actually can be friends. I'm friends with plenty of people that I've met. I actually travel the country for work. I've been from California, upstate New York, Flint, Michigan, Texas, Reno. I spent 2 years in Omaha, Nebraska. There's girls I had relationships with, but because I travel, they didn't work out. I'm still friends with them, and I still talk to them and their husbands, and their kids are adorable, and I share pictures of them, so I'm still friends with them. Yes, we had a thing, but they moved on with their life. I don't take it personal. I totally understand. There's a problem with traveling a lot with a job. I have to have that conversation in the relationships where it kind of sucks too, because from my perspective, whenever it gets to that point of, oh, well, I guess we could just have a fling is generally what they say. It's like, oh, I won't be serious, but whatever, we'll have a thing while you're in town. It's like, I could fucking stay. Not to swear, I don't mean to be rude, but like, seriously, it never occurs. Like, I get that a lot of women prefer a man that's like nailed to the ground. Got him in the area. He's in the area code, whatever. They'll settle for a dude that lives nearby over someone who came from out of town. They see, I don't understand that. Something I've tried to deal with, having a career traveling and whatnot. I guess it's a sense of security or whatever.
Right. A lot of what I'm hearing.
But it's never been of like I clearly came from somewhere else to here.
Yeah.
So I have no problem staying here. I got here. But with that situation, yes, I've had serious relationships with women that didn't get to the point of stationary. It's going to be there. I'm going to be there forever. And I'm still friends with them. I still talk to them. So yes, you can be friends. Even if a relationship fails, you can still be friends with someone.
Okay, a lot of what you're saying is kind of like getting closer to like what my brother is saying about relationships and stuff, because it sounds like a ton of the relationships that you've had with like friendships started off like romantically, right?
Well, it's because we're talking about relationships between men and women. Like I've had plenty of friendships and stuff. Like you're talking about, can friendships exist between men and women regardless of romance? And yeah, I've had friendships with a lot of women. I guess I'm a little bit skewed on the spectrum because I grew up with 2 older sisters. So kind of like, I guess, a lot of the macho stuff.
Right.
Dudes are like raised with of, where you're gonna be gay if you put on a dress. Like I've worn more dresses than most of the girls I've dated because I have 2 older sisters, and they just do that to their little brother. That doesn't freak me out. Like, I don't care. That didn't make me not want women when I grew up. Like whatever. That's what it is. There's embarrassing photos. Forever there will be embarrassing photos of me because I had 2 older sisters that were gonna do 2 older sister things. Okay, but friendships, I guess it was easier for me, possibly because I had 2 older sisters. So I kind of grew up and knew things about girls ahead of guys in my age group.
That makes sense.
So
that makes a lot of sense.
I think one of the things JoJo's right.
it's impossible to begin with, but I think once you get to a certain age, it's inevitable, right? If you can't encounter things with women growing up foundationally, like understanding what a girl's period is, like seeing those things either in a trash can or clogging up a toilet, it's these things, once you encounter that as a very young kid, it doesn't shock you as a teenager or an adult. So I kind of had a jump start in being comfortable with women.
I like
because
that.
I had 2 older sisters. So I think I kind of had, like, advantage over other
Yeah.
dudes.
I like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense. And this is stuff that you
Yeah.
need to know that's super important when you get older and you actually
Yeah.
get into a relationship and get a wife, or it gets like a bit more complicated. That stuff is important.
A lot
Yeah.
of the gross stuff, everybody says, like, farting in a relationship. Once you get to that point, you're comfortable with each other. I've been comfortable with girl things that freak dudes out since before I even got testosterone in my system, like before I had puberty. I understood these things, so I kind of think it was a little easier for me to be friends with girls before it was really like relationship things. Before it was only ever going to be relationship things. Because no matter what you do, if you're attracted to women and you're around an attractive woman, you're going to have those feelings. The issue is being friends with someone and having those feelings. Like, I agree with JoJo that you're always going to have those feelings, but having those feelings and treating someone as a friend or treating someone as a potential, girlfriend. So I have friends that are hot as hell. And no way are we going to get together. And like I think he mentioned it earlier, like the stream kind of dipped out earlier for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, the sound was wonky.
Yeah, he said like there's a point where you got to understand it's not going to happen. I kind of entered every friendship relationship with it's never going to happen. I'm like a self-deprecating weirdo. I'm one of those dorks. Like I enter like I'm going to fail. Whatever. Sucks. I hate my life. And I can't believe that people even want to be friends with me. People even want to like engage with me. So I kind of enter into relationships with a lot of friends, like 3 or 4 girls who were like stripping when we were in high school. They're awesome. A couple of them started businesses. They're great. They're good people. I knew initially it was never going to happen. So yes, I could be friends with them. So it's not that men and women who are attracted to each other couldn't be friends. It is definitely about respectfully having boundaries.
I agree. Like the whole self-control aspect and all of that stuff, and thinking about what the other person wants. I completely agree with that.
And if a dude only ever sees women as something to conquer or something to have as a prize, you're never going to have friends with women. That's how it is.
Oh, awesome.
You won't see them as people. You'll see them as an object to have, to conquer.
Yeah.
Now, like, and I get like grown up hormonally. It's kind of hard. You can't not think of a girl in a sexual fashion. But I have a lot of friends, like totally. There's women that are married right now, happily married, and I'm happy for them. That's a weird feeling. But in an instant, if they're like, I'm done with this guy, I would like to have, in a heartbeat,
Okay. All right, that answers.
I'm not a dude, like, trying to hit them up for
that.
I'm legitimately happy they're in a good relationship. You know what I mean? It's weird.
I'm here for it. Thank you so much, Mike, for calling in. You are dope, and thank you for your opinion.
Thank you. Thank you for the stuff.
Oh, crap.
Wandy FU said, I had to friend zone a gay friend of mine. We were friends for years. I made it clear I wasn't interested. He made it clear if I was ever interested, he wanted some first.
What in the world? Wow. Okay, in that situation, when it becomes like a bit aggressive, then okay. Yeah, it has gotten a little weird. In that situation, when it becomes aggressive, then we should dip out. But if it's consensual, then it makes sense. But I agree with what Mike was saying. Especially the fact that like he grew up with sisters, and it seems like with growing up with so much feminine energy, it caused a lack of toxic masculinity in adulthood.
Don't say that. I hate that word. What does that mean?
I
It's
think
crazy
that that's
you're
a
saying
thing.
that though. Like,
Why?
because when have you experienced toxic masculinity?
Not within my household ever, but it's a thing.
Like, can you give an example?
Okay. I don't know if you guys have seen this video. I'm not sure. I think it's on my dad's channel. And I did it with JoJo and my dad. And we were watching some comedy skit, and they were talking about how guys should eat a banana, and how JoJo, what did you say? You don't eat cookies or something? Like, I don't understand why guys can't eat a banana in public. That's weird to me. Like, just eat it.
That's a very, very specific example.
You asked for an
Honestly,
example.
don't even know how to answer that. That's very specific. You can't eat bananas in public.
I didn't say it because I think it sounds crazy. But that's a thing that happens.
Toxic masculinity. I think some masculinity can be toxic, and I think some femininity can be toxic.
Just like they're saying in the
Some
chat.
people can be toxic.
Yeah, like just like they're saying in the chat, not only men can be toxic. I'm a female, and I can say there are lots of toxic females out there, 100%. Everybody can be toxic, but we're not talking about women right now, and that's what the problem is.
Okay, toxic. Okay, everyone can be toxic, bro.
That's what I said. Everybody can be toxic, but why? As soon as we start talking about toxic masculinity,
It's just how it's used nowadays.
men are just like, no, let's talk
a
about the
negative-
women.
it's a very-
Like, we're not
no.
talking about that.
You don't understand. It's a very negative connotation, like extremely negative connotation towards masculinity nowadays. So when I hear toxic masculinity, I hear that basically every day on social media. Like every day, you never hear about toxic femininity ever. So that's why guys say, let's talk about the women, because when they hear toxic masculinity, they're hearing everything they do is toxic. So that's why some people may get defensive when they hear it.
Yeah. I understand the defensiveness, but also it's a topic that should be discussed, just as men could be as comfortable to talk about how crazy women are, then you should be able to listen to how, like, the toxic masculinity things that we're talking about. I don't understand why the defensiveness gets there. Who wants to be a moderator? The perfect example of why we don't, Johnny Depp situation. I mean, yeah, there's a war on masculinity. I agree with that. Actually, some guys are afraid of patting a cat in public because it might be seen as unmasculine, and that's what I'm talking about.
Do you know? You got to pick some moderators, Benaya.
That's what I'm talking about. Like petting a cat in public, all of the simple day-to-day things.
Petting a cat in public.
That's as stupid as not wanting to eat a banana
We're not allowed to pet cats
in public. Or didn't y'all say something about eating a hot dog?
Glizzy, no, we're not eating no hot dogs in public, bro.
And that's what the problem is.
That's not really toxic masculinity. That's just that's like a game, if anything.
It's a game?
You're like, that's like a game. That's not really.
I don't know what's going on in the chat. It's getting weird. You guys stop being weird.
Funny.
Y'all are hilarious, but you think most of these things are made up. Okay. Maybe the world is weird, just like my chat. Y'all are being weird.
Toxic.
But I don't know. Even the topic of like, can men and women be friends, is crazy to me, because the first thing that comes to my mind is, of course we can, but also I don't think how a man would think. So
I think like some things the woman controls, like naturally, and some things the guy controls, and I think we're kind of the pallbearers or the gatekeepers to relationships, like just in general. So
The men?
yeah, because we like if you think about it, we get down on one knee to ask a girl we want to marry. I think girls pick the guys, but I think we're the gatekeepers to like relationships in general. Not in all cases. So with friendships, I think it's the same way. Like I think a girl will be friends with any guy she finds entertaining or funny.
Yeah.
But the guys, we're really not the same. It's hard to be friends with a girl you find attractive.
Yeah. Okay. So guys only become friends with females that they find attractive? Is the question.
Guys usually, I wouldn't say that. I say guys only try to talk to girls they find attractive. Like just in general.
Okay. Interesting. Toxic masculinity for me is like when a man acts a certain way by the kind of fear that they will be seen, like because they may be seen a certain way by others. I agree. Like in my mind, men are naturally like very confident because you have to be. Men are the ones who are coming after women. Men are the ones who have to always like be the ones to approach all of this stuff just socially. So in my head, that creates some type of confidence naturally.
Wait, what?
What?
What did you just say?
Because you guys are the ones who have to approach certain situations, like certain what? Because you guys are the ones that typically approach women when you find relationships or when you want a relationship or you want to talk to somebody, and y'all are used to rejection way more than women, it has to develop some type of confidence just a little bit within you naturally. That's just the way that my mind works. But also, I'm not a man, so this is all coming from a woman's perspective. Toxic masculinity is not all bad. JoJo. What the heck? Thanks, brother.
I was just saying if it worked.
Something did need to be said about guys wearing Birkenstock sandals with sports socks. Oh, that was personal. What in the world? Did anybody just get attacked by the sandals and socks comment?
What's up, New Zealand? Hype train.
Hey.
Started.
Thank you, Whitney. But did anybody just feel personally attacked by the socks and sandals comment?
He said toxic masculinity is a liberal myth. When did toxic masculinity come out? Because when I was younger, I never heard it. I was just starting hearing it this year.
I don't know, but part of me makes me feel like a group of women came up with toxic masculinity.
It's so frustrating to hear.
But we can't say that that's not something that we've seen or it's not true. Do you not believe in toxic masculinity? Because it's a thing.
I believe in it, but it's the same with toxic humans in general. It's like you're always getting attacked, and you don't know. You're like, what did I even do?
This leads me back to my point, JoJo. Everybody can be toxic, but right now we're narrowing it down. Like,
to men?
Yes, to men exactly. There are subgroups in this. We got toxic people, period, and then we got our subgroups, and now we're only talking about the men.
So are we gonna like redirect the anger to?
Why do we have to redirect it?
Just for fairness, right? Like equality.
We can redirect it at some point, but I don't understand.
We're never gonna do that.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not mad though. I mean, I don't think Naya believes in all that toxic masculinity stuff. She's not a super strong, crazy feminist.
I am not a feminist, but I could definitely say that I believe that both men and women can be toxic in their own ways. Now, everybody can do whatever they want, but there are things that are like more likely from certain genders. We can talk about toxic women, but also we can't get weird when we start talking about toxic men. Ew, socks and sandals. That's hilarious. JoJo's right. JoJo's right about what? About what? Plus gender is a myth. I mean,
What? Who said that?
if we don't shame people for anything.
Oh, like other than two genders, right?
You guys, where did shout out JoJo? What is going on? Why are y'all hopping on this JoJo train? What happened?
I don't know what happened.
Why is everybody talking about socks and sandals? What can somebody explain the connection to me?
Is that like a reference for something? Socks and sandals.
I always saw it as
Who does wear socks and that's so uncomfortable.
it's not though. Like we wear socks and Crocs.
There's no wedge going between your toes with socks and Crocs. I think he's saying like the wedge going between the socks into your toes.
Well, when he said, I don't know. I am not 100% sure. I would have to look at a Birkenstock, honestly, to remind myself, jog my memory a little bit. I don't know where socks and sandals came from either. But y'all, this chat is weird. I'm trying to connect the dots. Why the heck are we talking about socks and sandals?
Does anyone else want to come up on the Zoom?
We got Whitney here. Whitney's
that's what's up.
back again. Here we go.
Yo.
There we go. Hey, Whitney.
Hey, I've said to mute
The YouTube.
So I love this conversation about toxic masculinity and toxic
Mm-hmm.
femininity because I think that it's a lot of nuance. People don't often explore nuance.
Mm-hmm.
All they explore is the way that they perceive things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you talk about things like this, you have to look at it from a very global, objective standpoint. And what I would say is toxic masculinity versus toxic femininity, which one has caused more strife throughout humanity's existence? So while I agree that there is a level of, I don't know how to describe it, a level of behavior for women that can be seen as toxic, I think that it really only affects men in the form of she rejected me, okay? Or she rejected me and then she called my mama a hoe. That's about like as far as you can get on that spectrum because toxic masculinity causes death. You know what I mean? When we're talking about things like abortion, you know, I can understand the call for pro-life people. I am a Christian and I fully like understand that and can vibe with that. But for me, I'm personally pro-choice because I'm a man and it doesn't have anything to do with me. So, you know, when we talk about these things, we have to keep them in perspective of how they affect the other party, okay? So if I go to a bar and I ask a woman for her phone number, she turns me down, okay? I get a little sad in my heart. If I'm a woman and I go to a bar and a guy hits on me and I turn him down, he might kill me in the parking lot. So a lot of the toxic masculinity, and all those things are symptoms of toxic masculinity. And men are affected by toxic masculinity almost just as badly, not just badly because death isn't as, on the table for men, but it affects us because we have issues. Sorry, go ahead.
I said, well, sometimes, like, women, I mean, I don't know, but not as likely as,
Not to the degree, right? Not to, like, I'm going to get killed in a parking lot because of toxic masculinity. But I also grow up only knowing that the only emotions that are okay are anger and, happiness, and bottling up feelings and stuff. These school shooters go out there because, they say it's because they got rejected or because they don't feel cool and stuff like that. But that's just, hey, JoJo, that's just a symptom of having all these things bottled up inside. And everything you see on TV is toxic masculinity. Every movie, it's always every action movie is like, I don't know. I think it's why we like action movies with like skinny nerdy guys these days because it's funny. Like it's like, oh yeah, like Michael Cera just grabbed a gun and just mowed down everybody like Rambo. Like that's funny because it's so polar opposite to the conversation of what it is. I have a lot to say on the subject. Just want to come on and say I'm probably not the typical ideologist as far as your chat because I see the guy that's like I think his name's actually Guy in the chat. It's like liberals are making everybody gay.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
but
yeah, that's my take on it.
yeah, I definitely value your opinion a lot, and I
He's
agree
really
with
smart.
exactly like I agree with a lot of the things that you're saying, and I didn't even think to connect the toxic masculinity with the fact that men aren't pushed to like share their feelings as children, and so you grow up with, like as he said, you grow up with the feelings of anger or like happiness, and then the in between is just kind of like mushed down inside, and it's not anything that's encouraged to come out. And that makes a lot of sense, not justifying it, but it makes sense. And then also, like if something happened with like a woman turning down a man, that could lead to death because of toxic masculinity. Like this stuff is crazy. It's
It
crazy
does.
out
What
here.
about rape accusations? Couldn't that lead to death in jail?
Yeah, but we're not talking about. Thank you,
talking
Whitney.
about, we're talking
You're
about,
dope.
We're talking
Have a
about
good
both.
night.
He said that toxic masculinity can lead to death, but toxic femininity can't in a lot of cases. But
I think that there's so much on the topic that we have to narrow down into these subgroups first. Like we can talk about talking about what happens to a woman if she turns down a man and then that toxic masculinity comes out is important, but it's also important to talk about what happens to a man if a woman has gives a false rape like accusation, whatever. All of this stuff is important.
Okay, I'll say this. Toxic masculinity on a woman can lead to way more physical damage. Like I'm being serious. Like if a woman turns down a man, he can punch her in the face and seriously hurt her. That's what I'm saying.
That's true.
Like if a woman punches me, if you was to punch me in the face right now, it would sting, but I don't think it would really hurt.
My jab not that bad.
Yeah, you could get a little stronger now from the boxing. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the femininity, the toxic femininity, I never really heard that term before.
Yeah, it's not discussed as much.
That will lead to not physical pain, but just lifelong stress. For example, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not rape laws, because that's one, but it's another one. Child support laws and divorce laws. That will really hurt someone in the long run forever. That's what toxic femininity does. And then his thing on he said that well, I don't know who said it. Y'all said the men not showing their feelings, that's toxic masculinity.
No, we didn't say. I think what Whitney was saying was it's not men not showing their feelings which makes for toxic masculinity. I think it's it all connects though, because a lot of the times when people go into therapy, what are they talking about? Their childhood. So if something were to happen, if they were in a situation where they were showing toxic masculinity, then that could connect back to the time when they were in the 4th grade and they got angry and they didn't know what to do in a situation. They asked their mom or they asked their dad, and their dad said, I don't want you to come here and get sad. Why are you crying because somebody bullied you? Go back to school and punch him in the face. At that point, you feel like being sad about a situation is not okay. You feel like you have to hold all of these feelings down, and the only feelings that you're able to express is anger and happiness, which I think is what Whitney was saying. And then that can go into the whole toxic masculinity thing, because this is all you know. So it's not really toxic to you unless you learn it. But if you have a lack of understanding, then it's just ignorance.
I think we both. Okay, list some things you think are toxic masculinity.
Aside from men not wanting to eat a hot dog or a banana in public.
That's funny. That's actually pretty funny. You're kind of goofy, but that's funny.
It's funny in the greater scheme of things, but it's sad. It's funny. A sad thing. That's not okay. That's sad. Another thing I think that could be toxic masculinity. Let's say a man goes up to a woman at the club and he's just like, I think you're cute. And she's like, well, I got a boyfriend. I don't want to talk to you. And he's just calling her all types of names and all this other stuff and starts joning on her and all of her friends. All of that stuff I think is toxic. Is that toxic? Because that is something that happens. let's see. What are you guys saying in here? Yeah,
That's
it's the men don't cry. It's encouraged by society for men to not show emotions when women uphold toxic masculinity. Oh, women also uphold toxic masculinity. Yeah, that's a thing. Have you not heard that though? Like men, I have guy friends who, like, they'll be vulnerable with me, but only me. Like, they don't open up to anybody else. But why is that? Because as a female, I could cry to my friends. I can open up to my friends, and it's like, yes, girl, express yourself. You are a queen. You are sunshine. All of that stuff. But if a man cries to his guy friends, you think I'm gonna be like, yes, king, go ahead with the sunshine and the tears. They're not gonna do that.
Do you know why that is?
Why?
Because we have a much. I don't think you realize how hard it is. Not to downplay your life, but I don't think you realize how hard it is just to like be a guy sometimes. Like when it comes to emotions. Like you, for example, you can get, if you go outside, you can get all the attention in the world. It just seems like a normal day to you. Most guys, the average guy, when he goes outside, no one says anything to him. No one looks at him. When he wakes up and checks his phone, he gets no messages. He gets no nothing. So most times our emotions, we don't even have an outlet to go to. And when it comes to dealing with women, you say it's toxic masculinity, but this goes into when you say women sometimes uphold toxic masculinity. Women do not want guys who cry all the time, who always talk about their emotions, especially in a romantic situation. Because I know you wouldn't. You may fake like you would, but you don't.
I would love if a
No,
man
you would
were.
not.
Yes, I would. Because it's something that you don't get often. There are so many men who have like this wall up. Not saying that women don't have a wall up, but a lot of men have like this brick wall up. And it's different if you get somebody who is able to like express themselves and tell you how they feel and tell you when they're sad. Like, a lot of times, even with my guy friends now who can be vulnerable with me, sometimes I have to guess if they're sad. Like, they won't just open up and be like, you know what, I really feel like crying right now. Like, they're not gonna do that.
Do you know, Vinaya, I don't think you, okay, guys feel just as many emotions as women feel. So do you really want the guy to tell you he's sad all the time?
Do I want the guy to tell me that he's sad well, if he's sad all of the time, then there's
You want him to
like,
communicate like you.
yes, I'm a great communicator. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Why would I lie? Why would I lie? It's not no simp stuff. And that's what the problem is. You think that I would think that the man is a simp if he's sitting right there like, you know what, Naya? Can I really just open up my diary and pour into you real quick? Like, all of this stuff, I would be like, oh my gosh, yes.
She your husband?
Yes, because that's what I'm here for. If you feel like, as a man, if you feel like in the world you're not able to express your feelings because of what society has to say, if I could be that person for you to be able to express your feelings to, then I definitely do that. Because a lot of people don't feel comfortable with going to therapy. Like, they don't feel comfortable with that. But if I know you, if we know each other well enough for you to sit there and express yourself to me, I do that. I don't think it's any simp stuff for that. Now, if you're crying every day, because I did hear a story. I was listening to a podcast once, and this girl, she wrote in and she was saying, should I...
Candace Owens?
She's this girl who's like, I think she's a journalist or something. She writes a lot. She's really into like Trump, all of that. But there's this girl, and she wrote in and she was like, should I leave my boyfriend? And pretty much what she was saying in that email was that for quarantine, she began a quarantine with her boyfriend, and she saw how he interacts and stuff on Zoom. He was working on Zoom for like some business, and his boss was really mean to him, and he would like cry every day in a corner. Like, he would just, after all of the Zoom calls, he'd just get in the corner and cry. And she'd go over there and she'd comfort him and everything. And she was like, should I leave him? Because, I mean, he's crying every day, and I keep trying to make sure that he's good, but also, how long can I sit with him and watch my man cry? Is that attractive to see your man crying in a corner every day because his boss is mean to him?
I think you already
No.
know this. Guys, men are not rewarded for being emotional the same way a woman is rewarded and accepted for being emotional. By men and by women. Men don't care if another man cries. Women probably get disgusted when they see a guy cry. They do not want their
Disgusted?
yes. If you saw your boyfriend crying every day or he was super emotional every day,
Okay, crying
you would
every
probably
day.
resent him.
But I feel like him and I would feel the same way if that situation was happening. If he saw me crying every day, of course he'd be there, he'd comfort me, all of that stuff. But you can't say that a man isn't gonna feel some type of way about his girl crying every day.
If a guy can listen to his woman complain every day.
A guy can listen to his woman complain every day, but that's something that we've just made normal. Like, it's not great to be in a relationship where your partner is complaining and all of this other crap every single day about the same crap. That's annoying. Yes. But also, I think it's annoying in the other way when you're a female and you see your man crying every day in a corner because he's getting bullied by his boss. Either way, I don't know. Anything is okay in moderation. Crying all of the time isn't okay for men or women. Exactly. Like, it's not okay either way on both sides of the spectrum. So men and women will handle the situations differently, but I feel like overall they'll feel the same way. Like, this is not it. But that also leads me to believe that people feel like, when I was reading some of the comments in a video that talked about marriage and stuff, and I'm not married, so of course don't have much knowledge in this, but when people talk about it, they talk about it like a death sentence. And
Marriage?
yeah, and it seems like it's especially men when they talk about it like, oh no, I'm not going to get married because I don't want the girl to take all of my money. And that could, like, that is a thing that happens. But also, I feel like it sucks that when people talk about relationships and everything else, they think about them being like locked in a cage. It should not be like that. It should be the man giving and the woman giving. Your life should not take a turn for the worse. It should improve or be the same with like a little bit of razzle dazzle.
Who do you hear saying they don't want to get married? Is it like younger people or older men?
I don't know the age range, but honestly, at this point, people my age are saying that they wouldn't want to get married, and they don't really have any assets. Are you like 23? I am 23. You guess my exact age. Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of sad, but point is, if men are encouraged, I mean, if little kids, little boys are encouraged to express themselves, then maybe we can lessen the toxic masculinity.
Encouraged by men and women? Or just their fathers?
What toxic masculinity? Can you give me an example of the toxic masculinity that's encouraged by women?
Aggression.
Aggression?
Abuse.
Aggression and abuse?
What's the other word I'm looking for?
In what situation, though?
I'm trying to look for a word.
You
It's
guys,
ignoring. It's not ignoring. I think I'm just saying ignoring. Women typically like the more aggressive, mean type of guys
yeah.
that are more prone to physically abuse them. They look for those traits in guys. I'm not saying it's 100% made by women, but they
For some reason,
lying
yeah.
to say women are more attracted to that.
To like the bad boy.
That stupid.
I'ma yell.
My son bad as a mug. My son's so bad. Like, bro, what?
Yeah, encouraging that, not cute. We shouldn't do that.
Like, the F boys, if you even think about that concept, if you ignore a girl and treat her like way worse than every other guy does, she's going to be more prone to like you. At least this generation of women. I don't know what it was back then, but girls nowadays, the worse you treat them is like the more they're drawn to you in the beginning. It's really strange.
Yeah, I agree. And it could have something to do with like that feeling that you get when you get a notification on social media, or however you feel when you're getting some type of validation from other people. If you're always getting this, let's say you're going to school and there's always a girl that's like, "Jojo, let me carry your book bag. Jojo, let me carry your book bag. Jojo, I brought you breakfast." If you're getting this every day, then it's just going to become very normal to you,
Nice guys finish last.
which sucks. But
Nice
if
girls don't finish last.
if this girl stops bringing you breakfast and she stops carrying your book bag, 100% you're going to start looking for her when you go to school, because you're like, well, what happened? Like, am I ugly? Like, did something happen? Like, she don't like my hair? Should I cut my hair? You're going to start worrying about all of these things you weren't worrying about before, because it's that feeling that you get when you're not getting that validation.
How is getting ignored validation though? I don't really understand that.
Well, getting ignored is not the validation. If you, like, the validation is you going to school, you know that you look good, or maybe you don't think that you look good, but somebody is always there telling you that you look good, carrying your book bag, bringing you breakfast, then it could let you know that, okay, well, never mind, it's nothing for me to worry about.
I just think men and women kind of have opposite lives in certain areas. Like, I think more women on a day-to-day basis get more validation than the average guy, and the average guy gets no validation or little. So when he sees a girl who's doing things for him, like doing real things for him, he really remembers that. But when a girl sees a guy who's doing real things for him, they're like, oh, I get that every day.
Yeah.
When they see that one guy who does nothing for him, they're like, wait, what's wrong with me? Like, why isn't he doing this for me? I want him. So I think it's opposite, kind of.
I see, like, Guy wrote, bring back chivalry. Do you think that chivalry is dead?
Chivalry? What do you mean?
Like, opening up a door for a woman, carrying her stuff, like, I don't know if maybe buying the food on the first date type of thing.
It's not dead. It's just different now, because the whole feminism movement, it literally pushes the equality between men and women, and it's not really equality, because honestly, I don't think most women even try to learn about the average guy's life, if I'm being honest.
Like taking interest in what they would like.
So I don't think it's equal. I just think they want, like, I think it's equal pay, equal job opportunities, and equal in that aspect. Not really the challenges of a guy. They don't really want to bear that, in my opinion. But so when it comes to that, it's equal. So what was the question? Is chivalry?
Yeah, is that dead?
So when it came to feminism, I don't think women really wanted chivalry, because they look at it as like condescending.
Yeah. Like, I can open my own door. I can pay for my own
food.
So
guys are kind of getting confused. They're like, do I open it? Do I let her open it? Like, I don't really know what to do at this point.
Right. And if a guy is dating a woman that is so, like, independent, then when he gets with a woman, and when she's so, like, when she's a feminist and she doesn't feel like a man should have to do anything for her, when he gets with a woman that does appreciate that, then he doesn't do it anymore, because he's been with so many females who just have not appreciated it at all. Maybe not justifying men not opening up doors and stuff. I enjoy that, but it's mainly because, like, my dad and my brothers, like, I grew up with that, so that's what I'm used to.
I think most men, however, are willing to open up. I don't think that's dead. I think most guys, like 90% of guys, are willing to open up a door for a woman, because that's just how. First of all, that's just how women raise men, and that's just how men are raised in general. Because if we're being honest, most of the time it's the woman raising the child, really. Especially in black households, a lot of black households, a lot of fathers are absent, so women kind of raise their sons to be more of a gentleman. So I think most guys are willing to open doors and do all that chivalry stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Men should open doors if their woman wants them to do so, and they shouldn't if their woman doesn't. That is also true. Like, everybody's different, and that's why I like read the room. You know, we should be able to take interest in our partners a little bit more than just being like, oh, I got a boyfriend. Oh, I got a girlfriend. Oh, I got a husband. Like all of this stuff, you should really be able to narrow in on who your person is. Everybody's different. But I think it's the fact that people don't really take the time to get to know the person that they're with. And then that causes all of these problems. Like, oh, well, I didn't know that you wanted me to cook. But y'all are married. How did you get to that point without knowing that I like for you to cook? It's little stuff. If you want a woman, just be a mumble rapper. Sad but true. Very sad but true. Women are into that. Women are into that. Oh, Emmanuel, are you here? Aw, hey. It's not dead? You think so? Is it not dead? I don't know.
If you could change one thing about the way men think and one thing about the way women think, like the majority, what would you say?
If I could change one thing about the way that men think.
That you think is an issue.
I don't know. That is a question. If I could change one thing about the way that women think, I think that one thing that I've noticed about women when they get into relationships, it's more about all right, well, we've been together for 5 months now. When are you going to make me your girlfriend? Putting a time limit on whatever the label is going to be next, I don't think that we should do that. And I think that, like, you can get married in 3 months. You can meet somebody and get married in that time if it's right. Like, if that's something that's supposed to happen. If you're both on the same page. Now, if you're putting a time limit on that, then I don't think that it's really meant to be. You both are not on the same page. So what is the point of pushing a man who doesn't want to be in a relationship? Clearly, because they would have done it. They would have made you their girlfriend if they wanted to be in a relationship. But if you're pushing them in that direction just because you've been in a relationship for 5 months, I don't think that we should think like that. If you are a female and you have been talking, whatever that means, to a guy for 5 months and you feel like you should be in a relationship, you've talked to him about it.
Y'all talk for 5 months.
I don't know how long people talk for, but if you have expressed to him that you want to be in a relationship, you know in your heart that he knows that. You are not stupid. We have that intuition, okay? You know what you got to do. You either stay, you choose to stay with a man who doesn't want to wife you, or you leave. Like, those are your options. It's not an option for you to continue. Well, you can do it if you want, but it's just going to irritate the man. To continue to push and push and push and make that man want to make you his girlfriend. That's not it. Because what's going to happen is he's either going to stop talking to you or he's going to make you his girlfriend and he's not going to be there. He's not going to be like boyfriend material because he knew that he wasn't meant to be a boyfriend right now. He's still going to be single. Now you just got the girlfriend title.
Does anyone want to come on Zoom for this
Let
topic?
me go ahead and send that chat.
Yeah, because people are saying what they think.
What I would think
Putting a time.
I would want guys to change. It's like what we were talking about, that whole toxic masculinity thing.
The link was just sent, Whitney.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Like, just be yourself. Just do that. Like the guy that came on Zoom and said that when he was growing up with his sisters would put him in dresses and stuff, and it didn't make him feel no type of way. Like, he's a little kid. He don't know. He's just wearing these dresses. He's been in more dresses than many women have. And he's able to say that and be confident in who he is as a man. That's it. I like that. Yeah, Whitney is dope. Whitney is a guy. I confused that too, but Whitney is dope. That's surprising for me to say. What did I say? Oh.
How did all these debates start? It's just such a weird...
It is weird. Okay, we got somebody in here. There's no name, but Let's see.
Connecting to audio.
Yeah, it's connecting. Hola, how are you?
What's up?
Hello, what's your name?
Hi.
Hey, what's your name?
Paul.
Paul. Hey, Paul. Do you have anything to
How you
say?
doing?
I'm doing well. Do you have anything to say on the topic?
Interesting conversation you're having.
Yeah, it is very interesting. All of the stuff that society pushes on us.
Yes. I think men should be men and women should be women. It depends how you're raised. If you're raised to be a gentleman with manners, you'll carry them out. If you're not and you don't see those models from your parents, you won't carry those out.
That's it. You are who you are.
Upbringing has a lot to do with it.
I agree. It depends on if you were able to express yourself as a kid or certain things that were okay. So I completely agree with that. All right. Cool. Well, thank you, Paul. Have a nice night.
You too. Getting ready to watch some boxing.
Oh, yeah. Have fun.
Do you think like I can only speak from like being raised as a black guy. I can't speak from being raised as like any other race. Do you think that has something to do with like anything, or you think it all just ties together?
I think that there is something in there that's cultural, 100%, because we could say like everybody's different, but I really do feel like there are some cultural things that go into that. Like a lot of the black guys that I know were raised in very similar ways. It was not exactly the same, but it was very similar. And something that I've seen within our culture, and you could like correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of guys within our culture were raised to be like much tougher, and you aren't really able to express yourself
Well, don't
as
speak
much.
for the guys. Black girls are kind of raised to be that too.
We are.
Not
JoJo was raised perfectly.
I don't know if you were like that. I don't think you were like that, or my younger sister. I'm saying like a lot of girls though are raised like that.
Yeah. I agree. I think that, but also like my dad was he looked out for our emotions, and in our community, going to therapy and all of that stuff, like talking about your feelings and stuff, is not a huge thing. But when it came to me, like the whole mental health aspect, my dad learned and he navigated around that, and he allowed us to express our emotions. What? Don't y'all be weird in the chat. Don't be weird. Okay. In some ways, we are fighting nature, but you don't seem to understand it either. The narrative is polarized, so it's natural to not read between the lines when you disagree. Oh, thank you, Whitney. I got a quick thing to put into the Zoom discussion, but I can't get back in. I don't want to monopolize the discussion, but if you'd like. Yes, okay, the problem is with Zoom, when you remove people, it doesn't let people back in. But for you, Whitney, I'm going to start a whole new Zoom because you have really good opinions. It's so interesting.
Was it like this with Pat? I probably was. I just think social media like it makes it seem like all the time.
I would like to hear from the people who were teenagers before social media came out. How was it for you guys? I would like to hear from y'all. For the people before social media was a thing.
I don't think really social media changed people. I just think it made.
I think it's changed people. I think that people who felt like their opinions were crazy, like, oh dang, you're sitting in a house in the dark in the basement and you look at this banana and you're just like, should I eat this?
Bro, nobody thinks that, bro.
Okay, this is like very random.
Really
It's not.
That's really like.
It's not super realistic, yes, but I'm just saying this is dramatized. You're sitting in the basement. You're just like, should I eat this banana? No, I'm gonna eat it regular. Like it's no big deal for me to eat this banana. No big deal. But you get on social media and you got this whole group of banana men haters that's just like, no man should ever eat a banana.
Bro.
Like,
Bananas are
then
so
that
good.
makes you, it validates
so
whatever
healthy, though.
crazy thoughts you were having in your mind. That's the problem. Too many crazy opinions are being validated. There we go. This is a new link, Whitney. So you should be able to join. Ew. Women thrive on attention and validation more than most men. Women are getting so much free validation from social media that they don't appreciate it in real life anymore. Facts. Okay, I saw an entire video.
Bro, that's cute. That's right, bro.
It's
I don't know if that's like a nature thing. Or if that's just like circumstantial. Because if guys get the same level of validation, we probably, I don't know if we'd be the same, but we'd probably be up there.
I would not want to live in a world where guys get the same level of validation that women get. I would not want to be there. And I think if we're talking about like the maximum levels of validation, let's talk about that. And they made an entire documentary of why you should not date an Instagram model. I'm not against
Really? What's it
Instagram
called?
models. I will have to find it. It's on YouTube. I'm not against Instagram models, but looking at the
Yeah, bro, that'd probably be a terrible feeling.
crazy. Like, imagine you're a man and you're dating this Instagram model who's getting tons and tons of DMs. You do have your women who would be like, all right, well, I'm not going to read that. I don't really care about that, all of this other stuff. But then there are many women who get fuel, who get energized from these DMs.
Like the second you mess up.
Right.
Like, you got 3,000 guys waiting.
Exactly. And then it's just like, all right, your man, he comes home a little late from work. It's like, all right, next time you get home late, I'm going to go over to John 360 on John 360 in my Instagram DMs. You better not mess up. Now your man walking on eggshells. That's not it. That's not cute. He get mad and you go over there and you post one boob in, one boob out on Instagram to make him mad. That ain't it.
That's a whole different discussion, actually.
That's different. That's a little different. I don't know. That's different.
He said 10 freaks on Instagram. Dang, this guy's aggressive.
10 freaks. I didn't say all that. It's just about having a level of maturity and respect. Exactly. But I don't know. Maturity, you don't get mature with age.
This guy said he's 41.
Not always.
And men and women can't be friends. He's lived alone.
Ah, okay, we got Whitney back. I like Whitney. Very good opinions. Oh, I think. Hey, Whitney. How?
Back.
Welcome back. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I want to say that if the person can leave, and it won't count, like it won't kick, like you don't have to kick them out. They'll leave, and then you can.
Okay, I'm gonna just stop removing.
So yeah, well, just tell whoever you have on that they can just click the red leave button at the bottom. You don't have to kick them out.
Okay, cool.
I got a bunch of stuff to say. I'm trying to say quick and not monopolize the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, to the idea that everybody was talking about, like holding doors for women, holding doors for people. Like there was a guy in the chat who says he only holds doors for women he's sleeping with.
What?
Things like that.
Amen.
I think that that's the wrong nuance to go with. I think that if that's the way you feel, you feel the way you feel. But one of my favorite quotes from my favorite author, C.S. Lewis, is and this comes from people talking about how women only want, this like masculine guy, and they want but the thing is that everybody's different, right? Every woman wants something different, and to generalize the desires of every woman or every man is just really, that's how we get things like incels, right? I don't know if you know what incels are, voluntary celibates, and these people that are like women or jocks, femininity and stuff. So the quote is, if you want to be loved, be lovable. And what that means to me is, and he's a Christian author. I know you're famous Christian, so you guys would probably love it. But if you want to be loved, be lovable. And what that means to me is you have to take the things that you already have. Like, so all these guys in the chat, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but they're like, men have aggressive natures a lot of times, and we're hunter-gatherers and we're providers and all stuff. Sure, that's great, right? And that to me is not like what makes you like desirable.
That's your baseline, right? And then you build off of that, right? So to be lovable by somebody, then you have to understand compassion and expressing emotions that are maybe more complex. And you made a good point earlier about therapy, and this is something that JoJo also made the point about, talking about women who want, like, these guys that aren't maybe great influences, or just might be kind of jerks or whatever, and he said nice guys finish last, and I have such a problem with that quote, because nice guys don't finish last. Those guys, the guys that they call nice guys, are the ones that are too afraid to say what they actually want, and usually they end up being themselves because they just want to like have sex, right? Which when you're in high school or whatever, and you're going through puberty, and or whatever stage in your life, if that's what you want from somebody, then let them know that, or just you don't have to just be like, yo, I want this, be a little more smooth, obviously. Yeah. But then they get turned down because, like JoJo said, they wait a year before they tell the girl that they like them, and then the girl turns them down. But that's entirely the guy's fault. And that's what gets me, right? So again, if you want to be loved, be lovable. And that also translates, if you want something, be that something, right?
Y'all hear this?
Somebody who is, if you want to sleep with somebody, I hate to say it, but be somebody who is, sexually attractive, or, go work out, go do this, go do that. That doesn't mean be toxic, right? But if you want what you want, you got to go out and get it. And that means taking your baseline, or whatever your male traits are, your feminine traits are, or whatever, and then build on them so that you get response from the people that you want. Again, don't generalize like what every woman wants. Every woman wants big muscly guy and like all this stuff, but I've found in my lifetime that women love funny dudes. And when I was younger, like, I was all about physical attractiveness, because as a guy, that's what I was looking for, so I just assumed that's what women wanted. When I talk to women to the point of your thing, can men and women be friends, it's very important that men and women are friends, because men can learn what women want from friends, women can learn what men want from their male friends. And then I learned that, like, it's almost more of an aphrodisiac for women, for most women that I know, for men to be funny rather than to have the sick packs and stuff. So I was never a very funny guy. I don't think of myself as a very funny guy, but I kind of, learned a little bit of how to be funny and just kind of be off the cuff and not take myself so seriously. And it makes you more warm and engaging, and it makes you someone that maybe more women want to just be around, not necessarily get love or intimacy or anything like that, but it ends up being something that is more responsive. So to increase the pool of what you want, be more like what the people that you want something from want. So if you want to be loved, be lovable. And that's kind of like the whole thing.
Facts. You are preaching right now, because this is 100% true. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Whitney. You got something to say?
Nah, he was right in some areas.
I completely agree with everything that you have to say.
Yeah.
I think that one thing that we don't do as people in general, we get very sensitive to all of these comments and the feedback and all of this other stuff. And it's just like, what? You want me to work out in order to be with me? Why would you say something like that? But I love you, and I really, like, all of that is not necessary. It's not. If you don't want to be with this person, if you don't have what they are requiring from you.
He was right with being nice. I don't like the word, the nice guy doesn't mean, I think you should be a good guy. I don't think every guy should be a nice guy, because that's just really, it's just really strange to me that you're always nice or always trying to be nice to somebody, even though that's not how you really feel. It's like you're hiding something.
Yeah, because you feel like they want something from you. Or
yeah,
you feel
that's
like,
and
the nice guy who's like always there for you, but then when he asks you out on a date, then the woman freaks out, or not freaks out, but she's like, no, I'm not interested in that. And then the guy like goes crazy. And he's like, but I've been there for you for a year and stuff like that. Like, clearly that's all the guy ever wanted.
Yeah.
The entire time. And then that guy is so upset because he got rejected, and he didn't ask a year ago because he was afraid of being rejected. And so all that built up in his head, like JoJo said, the guy wants something from the girl and waits a year to ask. But then by that time, the guy's built it up so much in his head that this girl, she must love me or she must like me because we have all this intimacy and this contact, and we're friends. Now's the time to pull the trigger, rather than 10 months ago when you know, like you set yourself up. You set yourself up for being a friend. And I think that so often guys set themselves up for these issues and then they blame other people. I think it's just selfishness. I think it's just selfishness to blame everybody else for what you did. And the other thing is all these guys that complain about femininity, they're usually rugged individualist and conservatives, and they're like, well, people should be the way that they are. They should be individuals and do the right, act the way that they should. But yet they're the ones that are scared of rejection, and then they complain a year later and complain about women, and like women are wishy-washy and nice guys finish last. No offense, JoJo, I know what you're saying. But there's incels, there's these involuntary celibates that they say, well, I'm celibate because no woman wants me. But that's your fault, dude. Like, if you want to be loved, be lovable. Go to the gym. Pick up a book on improv or comedy, or, find a group of people that really enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. I'm a huge nerd. I love Dungeons and Dragons. But I also go to the gym and pick up a bunch of weight. And I also love, whatever TV show. And yeah, anyway. I don't monopolize the discussion. I just had a lot to say because I saw a lot more in the chat.
I love that. And we do have, like, you're very insightful. We have a lot of people in the chat who are thinking, like, how old are you? If you don't mind letting us know, and if you don't want to.
No, that's fine. And I meant to say, because of your question about people that were teenagers before social media, I'm 34 years old.
Okay.
So I was a teenager. Facebook came out when I was in college, I think. I think like my first year in college. And so this is before social media. So it was all like, we had AOL, so we had like, you could chat to people. And the one thing I will say, I don't think social media has changed people that much. I really don't, because I still see
I don't
kids,
think it is either.
white kids jumping on and saying the N-word on social media, and then they land in a hot pot of water. And the difference is that now they get denied colleges and stuff like that. Like, if people did that back in the day, nobody knew about it. The one thing I will say has changed is the requirements for entry to other people's bubble, right? So, just for example, I remember a girl that I was just in love with in high school, and I was able to chat with her over AOL. And there was this, it lowered the barrier to entry, because I didn't have to, I have social anxiety. I have, anxiety like everybody, a lot of people do. And I was able to not feel that anxiety because I wasn't looking directly at her. Now, had I been standing in front of her and talking to her, I'd have been like drooling and like, because my brain would have just shut off because I was just so enamored with her. I think seeing both sides of that, I think that one thing that people should really put a focus on, especially in my generation and younger, I'm a millennial, quote unquote, is learning how to communicate face to face and just doing it and doing it and doing it until you have some semblance of communication skills. I think that that's one of the things. Probably the main thing, if the only thing that we've lost. Also, internet trolls trying, like saying stuff that they would never say to somebody's face. Like, somebody would never say. There was guys in the chat earlier that were like saying things in the chat to you that they probably would have never said to your face, especially in your family home, like while your dad was there or while JoJo was there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just people don't think about those things. So I think that's.
I 100% agree with you on that point too. Like, having social media, you're behind a wall. Like, you don't really have to take ownership of your actions ever, and you get to make other people feel crappy too. And so all of this stuff coupled in with each other just makes you feel like, all right, well, this is my communication now. And then you get into a room with somebody and you don't know what to say. Like, I could walk in. I teach, and at my school, when we were in person, I'd see like the upper school. In middle school, they'll be in a room with each other. Everybody just on their phones. Nobody's communicating with each other. We used to play like hand games and all this other stuff. Nobody does that anymore. And it's sad, because that's what life is. Like, you have to communicate with people in your career. And when you get into those spaces where you have to be social to come up, you're stuck.
This young generation gonna be y'all think Generation Z is anti-social? This younger generation with COVID and with social media, they're gonna be like anti. It's
Yeah,
gonna be crazy.
it's sad, but we
Yeah, I
really.
used to teach too, and it is.
What grade did
I'm
you
a
teach?
coder now. I was a choir teacher. That's where I got my first 2 degrees in. I was a choir teacher. I enjoyed it, but I wanted something more for my life, more money, more freedom. When you're a teacher, you'll find out, or you do know, you work 12 hours a day, you get paid for 8 hours, you're making copies at 7 p.m. at night in the school, it's dark outside, you're grading at 9 p.m. I didn't want that for my life. But teachers are absolutely necessary. I don't want that to come across as
No. I completely,
do that.
I get it.
Teachers are absolutely 100% the building blocks, the basis of our society. And I think it's a crime what they're doing to really keep teachers from doing what they need to do. I have a lot more to say on that. But anyway, yes, agreed. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much. You're dope.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Good night.
You too. I'm going to hop off and I'll hit leave.
Okay, cool. You guys hear that? Everything. Very valuable. And if you want to be loved, you got to be lovable. Like, we really need to be honest with ourselves. If you continue to lie to yourself, then you're just going to get a lot of, like, fake crap in your life. And that's it. Don't lie to yourself. If you know that the man that wants you, or the man that you want, you just really gotta have him for some reason, loves women who know how to cook, and you in the house making ramen every other day, and that's the only thing that you know how to make, you don't know how to work a stove, then you're gonna have to figure that crap out. Be honest with yourself. Life will be easier that way. That's it. To be lovable, one usually only needs to love oneself. Okay. Yes, love yourself. Do that. I agree. You should love yourself. But if we feel like, well, as long as I love myself, the man that wants me will love me too. We need to.
What?
I mean, it's some Disney Channel crap. You got to put some work in at some point in some area. Somewhere. Just saying. Okay, Keith. Okay, we got Mike Armor back here, but let me look. Agreed. I dope. That reminds me of. Well, what age do I teach? I'm a kindergarten teacher. So I'm with the babies, you guys. Here, molding and allowing them to be open and express themselves. Yeah, I agree. And I'm not even married. You have to sacrifice parts of yourself in a marriage. You can't just think, all right, well, when I'm by myself, I wake up at 12 o'clock. I don't make nobody breakfast. I don't do none of that. I'm going to be exactly what I am when I'm with you, and you can take it or leave it. And sis, don't be mad when you come home to an empty house. Like all his stuff is gone. Because you said take it or leave it. It is what it is. And that's not how relationships work. It's give and take.
I'm leaving, bro.
You leaving? It's give and take.
I will leave so fast.
You gonna get crap from everybody. You're gonna get crap from every person that you're with. We're people at the end of the day. But it's whoever's crap you choose to deal with, number one. And then number two, if you know that you got some crap that you need to work on, then you need to work on that. Just as if you got a man and you just like, dang, all he do is sit on the couch. When he gonna get a job? You were okay with him not having a job and not doing nothing when y'all were dating. You married him. So now you figure that out. But if he doesn't do that part, if he doesn't do his part in the relationship, then you'd want him to figure that out, just as if you always got an attitude and he'd want you to figure that out. Both of y'all just need to figure out your crap.
No, you got attitude. You got to figure that out. You don't got a job. You got to figure it out.
JoJo.
Don't
Don't be a jerk. I don't know how that happens, but I'm just saying. They're not just going to be standing at each other like, I'm not going to figure it out until you figure it out. No, you figure it out. We're not 6. Okay? If y'all chose, that's not. It works differently in my mind. All right, but
funny.
how is it funny? I'm serious. It's a serious thing. Yeah, don't marry some. There's a difference though. Don't marry somebody expecting them to change. Yes, but also if you decide to, like, it's all give and take. If you have kept asking your man, I really don't like it that you don't go to work and I have to work 12-hour days in order to pay our bills. I'd really like for you to get a job. And every time he like, nah, I'm good right here. If he say that every time,
I can't even fathom a relationship like that.
yeah, like if he says that every single time and he proposes to you and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, then who is the fool in that situation?
Bro, I think the difference, I'm not gonna speak for all men. I'm gonna just speak for me, bro. I don't want no project. If I gotta meet you and build you up, well, actually, when it comes to attitude, I don't want a project, bro. This is some things that
A
me personally,
project?
if you got a bad attitude, I'm not getting with you. That's just one thing
Yeah, and all
gonna
of
say.
all of that stuff you can catch early on, but when people tend to get into a relationship, you got those glasses on, those rose-colored glasses. You see right past all of the crap. You see past it until everything blows up in your face. It's like they're called red flags for a reason, but if you continue to say something and this person is content with who they are, they're not willing to change, at that point, it's your turn to step up and take lead on what you're going to do in the situation. Nobody has a gun to your head telling you to stay here. You are the one setting yourself up. That's called self-destruction. And then you marry them, and now self-destruction for life that you agreed to. So if you are a man that knew this woman had an attitude and you told her about it, like, I don't like when you talk to me like that. She's like, F you and your mother. If she say that and you still propose and you are still good with it, don't get into the marriage and be like, all right, so now you're going to fix your attitude. She is the same person that she was before you put that ring on her. She's the same person, but with a ring. And it's stupid for you to think that she's any different. So now your problem is the attitude that you chose to marry. Mike! We'll let Mike in.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hola.
What's up, Mike?
Hi, how you doing?
We're doing well.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, good lord. Yeah, okay. I had to, sorry. I had to mute the YouTube video.
Oh, okay.
There was a weird echo that was totally showing with my head.
Oh,
But
no.
I kind of find it funny that me and the last dude, who was also one of the last dudes on, 34 years old, we
Ah.
both play D&D. Why are you guys attracting a D&D audience?
I don't know.
What does that mean?
It doesn't,
Dungeons and
like,
Dragons?
You don't do D&D content, do you? Like, have I missed out on you guys doing Dungeons and Dragons episodes? Like,
I've never even played, but I'm happy with the I'm happy with the
I mean,
audience.
we're cool people. It's basically like storytellers, dice rolls. Everything's interactive. It's fun. I just find it funny that we're the same age group. But I do disagree with them as to social media changing relationship dynamics. I think, I don't want to say like it's changed relationship dynamics full sail, right? But I do think it sort of fueled the whole instant satisfaction desire that people have. The little snaps, like everything went from, videos are cool to Snapchat to TikTok to, and I love Vines. I do go back and look at like Vine compilations and stuff. I didn't know what Vines were. I'm a boomer millennial. All right?
Okay.
I'm 34 years old. I didn't even know what Vines were until Vines were canceled, and it was done, and the whole thing was over with. But I do go back and look at those compilations because I find it awesome to see that comedy can be condensed into a short, handful of seconds. That's like super intense. You got to be seriously funny to be able to make something funny in that short period of time. That's cool as hell. But also, that's kind of what it reinforced in the cultures. Everything has to be quick. Everything has to be now. Everything has to be awesome. You have to be into it. You have to be in a relationship. You can't take time to just let things marinate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. It sounds
I
like
don't think it like fundamentally changed humanity or anything like crazy like that, but I do think culturally maybe social media didn't really have that good of an impact on a couple of generations. And I grew up throwing AOL CDs like frisbees, and before America Online Instant Messenger became a thing. Before pedophiles had rapid access to young kids, before all this stuff, when internet used to be a screaming robot noise for you to get on, and if your mom picked up the phone, the picture of boobies that you were trying to download stopped downloading. You know what I mean? I am the boomer millennial that took place. So there's the old internet and there's the new age of everybody has things right away. Everybody has information right away. They have their phone right away. Things instantaneously. And I kind of think that kind of did affect relationship dynamics with people. That things have to be quicker than really they need to be.
I agree. And it sounds like, because Whitney was also saying, it sounds like you're saying that there was a greater effect than Whitney was trying to let on.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing with him like full sail. Like they say, oh no, he was saying it didn't have an impact, but I kind of think what he was getting at, we both agree on. Like it didn't change the world. I do think it had an impact on relationship dynamics, because you got to remember, kids coming up during this age when these things were like went from concepts to apps that affected the world. It affected how they view the world. Whereas me and him grew up, we had to learn people's phone numbers. Whereas on your phone, you just have to tap, tap, tap with your thumb, and you're calling somebody. I had to learn people's pager numbers growing up. Do you even know what a pager is?
I've never touched a pager in my life. I have no clue.
Do you even know what it is? Do you even know what it
Doesn't
is?
it beep when people want to call you?
Yes. It's this little block, like a bar of soap you have on your side, right? And if we knew the number, we would call it, and it would signal. It would vibrate or it would beep, and then you would look at it, and it would show you the number that you had to go to a payphone, something you probably have not seen in your lifetime. You had to go to a payphone to call that thing back, to get back to the person who was trying to get a hold of you. Mostly it was just like drug dealers and people in sex work that had pagers. Or people who were like making more money than they should and trying to seem cooler. So that's what pagers were at the time. Cell phones looked like a giant gray brick, right? I was alive at this time. I'm not proud of it. I'm an old dude. This took place, but to see, like, your community was so much smaller back then. Whereas now, it seems like people think their friend group is who talks to them on Twitter.
Yeah.
Dude, they're like a half a planet away from you. They aren't your friend group. That's not who you should be engaging with. So it seems like things got massively expanded with social media, and a lot of what should be normal interactions got kind of meddled with. Kind of like everything has to be so quick, everything has to be right away, everything has to be Googleable.
So do you feel like you can't build genuine relationships with people through social media?
No, but I think there's a lot more steps you need to take before they become genuine relationships. You know what I mean? Like interactions that took place in your social life, they had impact. Whereas the internet, there's no impact. You're an anonymous name behind, whatever bullshit you came up with to talk to people. Whereas it's somebody at the store you're talking to. You know what I mean? The same way the internet, it was so horrifically toxic when it first started because people could drop the N-bomb and there was no consequences.
Yeah.
Whereas you're not going to go, okay, go ahead and scan the milk I'm buying and call that person scanning the milk the N-word to their face.
Yeah.
At least not like outside of Alabama or anywhere like deep south where the Klan's ruling, right? You're not going to get away with that face to face, but anonymously you could.
Yeah.
So like horrific behavior, anonymous horrific behavior, you could get away with socially, and it's kind of expanded. They do what they can, but there's no way to really stop people from being assholes on the internet.
That's true.
There's no way to do it.
We got a lot of trolls out here.
You can block them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no way to stop people from being just dicks. There's
Yeah.
not.
I agree.
And it's going to exist on the internet, and I can't even tell you guys the horrific stuff I saw on AOL Instant Messenger. When that was like the very first thing, it was disgusting. And there's a reason, like, what's his name? The dude who, like, trapped pedophiles and stuff like that existed. Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that horrific crap on the internet. It suddenly, a whole culture could engage instantaneously. And there was a lot of growing pains. And I don't think we've grown enough from that in terms of relationship building. I mean, before that, at the time when that stuff took place, they were saying, we can't have gay marriage because if we have gay marriage, people are going to have sex with horses. That was literal political dialogue at the time. And nowadays, people who are in the Democratic Party say, oh no, we are fighting for, same-sex marriage because we understand that's the right thing to do. I'm like, motherfucker, I remember you 15 years ago telling me these people would have sex with horses if you let them marry each other just because they love each other. Like, I have memory of these people doing this stuff. There's a lot that has changed. It's like, up until the millennium, things were pretty slow culturally. And then it was like rocket fuel got applied to our culture. So there's a lot of growing pains going on right now. And the instantaneous interaction with information is going to have consequences with things. And I do think it has had consequences with relationships.
I agree. I completely agree. And it sounds like a lot of the stuff, like you kind of just added on to some of the stuff that Whitney was saying as well, when it comes to like relationships. But it is like, I could see from your point, it is a bit more like a little more detrimental from like the aspect that you're giving me. Cause I didn't like life before social media. I
wouldn't want to say it's detrimental. I think it's, like I said, it was growing pains. A lot of these people that were like horrific people were just isolated in their communities. Like, let's say in a small community, there was one or two creepy dudes that wanted to touch kids. Well, now all these creepy dudes who want to touch kids can communicate with each other across the country and create chat groups on the internet, so things got worse. Is it something that's so bad we need to get rid of being in communication with all human beings around the world? No. I don't think having people talk to each other is seen as a detriment because scumbags can now talk to scumbags. I honestly think having access to outside information is going to be beneficial because, like, one of my best friends, she did an anthropology thing for college and went to China. And she was blonde-haired, blue-eyed, a total, like, Scandinavian-looking girl. She went to where some of the terracotta soldiers were being uncovered, like dug out, literally with spoons, very carefully, so they don't damage these soldiers and stuff, because ancient relics, awesome. And she went to China, and she went to some of these towns where literally these people have not seen a white person in their life. And when she showed up being blonde-haired, blue-eyed, she was so weird, they came up and kids were like climbing up her to touch her hair.
Oh my goodness.
and she had to tell me how weird this was. And I realized that's because they were so culturally cut off in that part. They were so rural. They were so far away from any sort of outside information. So to attack sharing information in general, bad idea. But bad information being engaged with on the internet absolutely needs to be stopped. Any of these weirdo pedos, any kind of weird assholes, any kind of deep racism, any kind of this shit needs to be engaged with, needs to be shut down, targeted. These people need to be stopped. So you don't create sort of terrorist groups because everybody can suddenly talk to each other.
I agree.
Because when everybody can talk to each other, some assholes can organize some things, right?
100%. Oh my goodness.
But everybody being able to talk to each other allows people to understand things about each other, because those people that went up to grab her hair had never seen blonde hair before. So it kind of humanized her instead of made her a cartoon character that they'd seen in books. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's important. That's very important.
Yeah, information needs to be shared. People need to have contact with each other. If we're going to learn anything about each other, it needs to happen. So having an internet, having a connection with other people needs to exist. It just needs to be responsibly managed.
I like that. I like how you said that. Thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah, no
You're
problem.
dope. Your opinions are very helpful.
Thank you.
Have a nice night.
Glad to see you guys. You too.
Alright, I don't know. Wait, let's do that. Okay, cool. Y'all agree? I think a lot of the stuff that he hit on makes a ton of sense. It's a lot of the stuff that, like, I mean, it kind of goes on Whitney's point, I think.
Whitney's point? I wish a girl would come in here and say.
Yeah, I would like to hear a female's opinion as well. But I mean, I don't know.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day, right? Somebody sharing their opinion. Y'all got a lot of opinions in this chat.
What should the next topic be?
I don't know. What should the next topic be, guys? What should we talk about next? Because this was interesting, the whole toxic masculinity thing. Yes, it's a lot of guys here. It's so many guys. I'm not complaining, but yo, where are the women at? We'd love to hear your opinions. And also, what should we talk about next? This was interesting. Religion. Religion. That is a topic. What should we talk about? Because honestly, I have some thoughts. Maybe...
Promiscuity? Would you like to talk about that?
Like, is WAP a women empowerment song? I've heard that. I've heard that a lot, that
It's
it was.
women empowerment.
Is WAP, the WAP song?
Is Bump and Grind a men's empowerment song?
Bump and grind. That's not the point. I think, just to touch on this a little bit, bump and grind, of course it's not. A lot of the songs that men make have always been over-sexualized, so it's nothing special. Women taking charge.
Female friend wants to get on.
Huh?
Bro, in no shape, way, or form is that woman empowerment at all. I just think women don't have another song that they can say is empowering.
Thank you, Whitney.
That's super big, so they just go to that.
I don't know. I think women having a song that, like,
I don't cook. I don't.
It was them, from what I've heard, it was them taking the power back.
How?
Because a lot of the songs that men make are over-sexualized.
Right.
Like every song. If you listen to a rap song, if you listen to a lot of these songs, I feel like it's very difficult for men to make a song without them talking
like,
about
I got bees.
women.
She a hoe, but like, WAP in no way. I don't think you even think it is. Is in no way, shape, or form.
I'm not saying that it is. I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all.
Taking the power back.
But
I guess you're taking it back from the guys that
I don't
guess
know.
You're taking it back from other rappers, I guess.
Maybe the music industry, but we do have a woman. Here we go, a unicorn. Darren. I forget what topic we're even talking about now. We've talked about so many different things. Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very clearly. How are you?
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
We're doing well.
Oh, I'm a friend of Whitney's, and just kind of I just popped into the YouTube channel, just trying to catch up and see what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about so many different topics, but I think the topic that we were just discussing was how social media has impacted the community now when it comes to building relationships with people in person.
100%.
Yeah. So we were talking to like lots of different people because all of my life, or most of my life, my teenage life, I've always known social media. So I was wondering, like, what is the difference? I guess if you know, or if not, you can touch on any of these points when it comes to that.
I mean, I'm from like AIM, MySpace, and then did not want to transfer to like Facebook at all life, and then I finally did. So like very late in the game, and I'm used to like, obviously like in-person connection is 10 times better, 10 times safe. Like you get to see somebody without that mask on, which is what the social media and like a lot of right now I feel like it's just online dating, and especially during this pandemic, it's like all you can really do in general. But
Right.
you can't have
that connection
like,
with people.
natural connection that like you want so badly. And even during the pandemic, you can't even like go to a bar and meet somebody. Now.
Right.
You gotta like, you're forced to do this online dating world, which is so much easier to mask who you are, because you're gonna try to put your best foot forward versus hopefully being your true self.
Right.
And it's hard because I try to just like give my, if it works, cool. If it doesn't, whatever. It's not, you're not gonna get not me. You're gonna get fully me as myself. But I feel like that's like I was trying to go through the chat, and like speaking of like when people date somebody and they try to think that you can change them. I don't think you can. I'm like, you know what you stepped into from the jump, and you tried to still think that could work, and I don't think you can change
You
that.
can't.
That's, I think, that person's fault that kind of jumps into that. And I mean, like, based on the title, I'm like bopping around here because
It's a lot, yeah.
like, can like men and women be friends? I fully 100% believe that.
I do too.
I mean, Whitney got me in this chat, and like I have like some of my best conversations in life with male friends that it's solely friends.
Yeah.
And I think that though you have to establish an open, honest conversation from the jump and be like, this is what this is, and if you try to have feelings after that, you'll probably get screwed over.
Yeah, it's like setting those boundaries, but as long as you set those clear boundaries, then everything should be okay. And I completely agree with that too.
And I get that, like, sometimes it is harder, because I know, like, I've been in a situation where I probably have had more feelings, and it's been something that's like, they don't. We're friends. So I think the best thing that I've done for myself personally is just being honest with that person and being like, this is how I feel or whatever, and if it's not there, then it's not there, and I need to learn how to figure out how to let that go, or in that friendship if it's not possible. But like I think Whitney was saying or something earlier, like if you are hoping and waiting out for somebody to like come around and like you, they put you in that friend box after like the first month.
Yeah.
For me personally, I think I put somebody in that friend box after like the first like 2 weeks. I'm like, all right, no, because you just
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree. That makes a lot of sense. And I'm happy that you said that, because I feel like a lot of the men who are coming on here, not all of them, but a lot of them that were talking, and even my brother were saying that it's not really possible for a man and a woman to be friends.
I said that if the guy makes it up in his mind that he will not pursue her in a romantic way, then they can be friends.
But
I mean, I think it's hard. I think it is hard. It is challenging. And then, so I get what people are saying, because there's also like, then you have to combine like alcohol. You know, you add all these other things in there, and it is what it is. But I think you have to also just really know yourself with that person and being really honest with yourself, because if you're not, you're going to get hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and that's your own fault.
Yep, exactly. Very well
So,
said. Very well
yeah.
said. Oh my goodness,
But
thank you so
that's
much.
my girl perspective.
I love it. And thank you for being the first woman to get on here. You preached
Yes.
and I loved it.
Of course, and you are gorgeous.
Oh,
okay?
thank you. You too, girl.
You're gorgeous. So y'all need to like give her some props over here.
Oh my gosh, you are great. We should be friends, honestly.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you
Have a
for
nice
having
night.
me.
Yeah, technically,
Later.
it's
Bye.
possible to be friends, but like the way, that's probably why it's hard for women to understand, because the way we're programmed
Mm-hmm.
is not, it's really not natural. Like it's today, it's you have to know how to be communicate with women on that type of level, just for like business, and maybe for just the way the world is moving, you have to know how to communicate with women on a platonic level. But like the way we're programmed, being just friends,
Mm-hmm.
like a one-on-one friendship, like you walk up to a girl on the street, or
Mhm.
like how you meet a guy on a basketball court, y'all like best friends now,
Right.
y'all play. But when it comes to a woman, it's really not
It's not
natural.
like
It's
that.
really not, because first you gotta look at how we pursue women. Looks, attractiveness is our like number one thing. So when we pursue women, we usually look at that first off bat. So that's like stuck in our heads forever.
Mm.
So like we don't even think of becoming friends with a girl we're attracted to. That's not even in our mind. Like women put guys in the friend zone, and they just stay there hoping to get out.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it's just not. It's not natural, but it's possible. I think it's possible. That's why I say if the guy decides,
Right.
yeah, I'm not pursuing her for a specific reason, then it can happen.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I could agree with that. I agree with that. Like I could say that I have way more female friends than I have male friends, because it's not as natural for me to just be like, oh my gosh, let's be friends with a guy, because I don't know your intentions. So when I am in that situation, I'm a bit more cautious to figure out what's going on. But I don't ever really have to feel like that when I'm around women, but that's just because it's a bit more natural for me. So it's interesting to hear it from your perspective, brother. But like, as we said, what other topics should we talk about? We saw religion in there. We talked a little bit about social media, but I think it's interesting to get like different takes and opinions on it, just to get like us growing up with only social media, and then like people growing up in the middle of it, you get it once you were an adult, all of that stuff. I think that would be interesting too. I don't know. What do y'all think? Or I have been hearing a lot of people say that Generation Z is entitled. Should we talk about that? I think that would be interesting. Are we entitled? I think I'm on the cusp of Gen Z anyway. So I'm not sure. We probably...
Honestly, I think millennials have it the hardest today.
We'll save that. We can save that. I think Gen Z,
That
the
it
Gen
is.
Z one would be interesting. Friends with benefits. Interesting. Very interesting.
Friends with benefits.
Yeah, friends with benefits. Also, dating apps. How y'all feel about that?
I don't feel anything.
I've never been on a dating app before, but I have friends who have different perspectives of it. I have friends who completely hate it. Emmanuel. No dating apps. I have friends who completely hate it. I have friends who are completely for it. I think that would be interesting.
I think they're made for women, for real.
You think dating apps are made for women?
100% made for women.
Save that. We're going to save this for another one. But, I mean, this was cool. Y'all are cool. We about to get out of here because it's getting late. But thank you for watching. Y'all are so insightful. Not talking about the weirdos in the comments. I saw y'all. Not okay. Not okay. But I'm talking about the ones who actually gave something to the conversation. That's what we're here for. the wholesome content, the ones that actually matter. I also kind of enjoyed the socks with sandals, but it confused me. So, yeah. Thank you, Whitney. Thank you for your opinions. You added so much to this.
You lit.
You're super lit. Like, come back for our next one. But thanks for watching, guys, and have a great night.
Peace out.
I don't know how to end this.